Hey everyone, welcome to the show, My So-Called Fabulous. I'm Tiffany and I'm back, and you all know I love reality TV. I love it. I just do. I mean, it's my guilty pleasure because I don't have to think about much. And I've had a few reality stars on here and they've been so great in the connection that these women make and create a network and a space for so many of us is so fabulous. I just love it. And recently I did a podcast, and this amazing woman that's sitting right next to me today, Kady Cannon Krambeer. Yep. She is in Dallas and she has a fabulous marketing agency. We're going to share with you all in the show notes her marketing agency. And I'm so excited for her because she loves luxury. She represents luxury. She loves country. She loves Western. She's just a great girl. And everyone, welcome to the show, Kady.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
So great. Thank you so much for reaching out. You know, people sometimes have a bad or negative connotation of social media, and I'm like, it just works. We met.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's a connective tool. I think it's gotten a bad rap because, you know, it can put on such a facade and it can, you know, be perceived as fake, and it's a lot of work that can go into it, and sometimes it takes away from, you know, the joys of life, but it also can, you know, I think it was meant to be a connective tool and to bring us closer together. So when used correctly, you know, it's a good thing.
It is a good thing. And, you know, I was looking through your Instagram and, you know, you give such great tips about marketing. And I take that to heart because I am a brand and I'm growing and it's ever evolving. And I just look, I mean, this morning I told you, I think I texted you at the crack of dawn. Well, it was not even the crack yet, but just watching and seeing what you're doing. And I loved that. And you came to me and we connected through marketing, but I found out you are a reality show star, that you are, let's say an alumni. Let's put it that way.
Yes, alumni.
Well, and you were on the first season of Temptation Island.
I
was. On Fox.
Yeah. So the first, no, not on Fox, on USA Network.
It was on USA Network.
Yes,
okay.
Because there was a Temptation Island on Fox in the early 2000s, and then USA kind of brought it back. USA Network in 2019.
Wow.
And so that's season 1 of USA Network's Temptation Island, and they are now going to be, Netflix just bought it, and Netflix is picking it up, and so that's going to be coming on Netflix. So that's exciting for the franchise, you know, for Temptation Island, and to be part of that. So that's exciting.
And you're part of that for sure. Okay, you just mentioned 2000. This is my ignorance. I didn't realize reality TV has been around that long.
It was like the circa of right when things were starting. So I think American Idol, and maybe did Survivor come on that long ago?
That's
The Bachelor
right.
was one of the OG reality TV shows. It was like back in that day of
in the day.
You know, Cops was, you know, kind of an OG reality TV show, if you will. So it was, you know, it was back then, and it didn't last long because of 9/11, I believe. That was kind of, you know, the state of the country really took a more serious turn.
Sure.
And, you know, the show made it past, I don't know, it was a year or two. It wasn't very long. But, you know, this reboot of it has done wildly well. They've kind of redone and restructured some of the things that, you know, maybe they didn't get right the first time around.
Sure.
And it's done really well.
How did you get involved? You're from Abilene, West Texas.
Yes, Abilene girl.
Yes. How did you get involved, and what made you, was it a tryout process? Because people are interested in this, and you know, I love it. I mean, I think it's intriguing.
Well, it's cool because, you know, I was just a normal girl, a normal person, you know, and everybody who goes on, you know, essentially these reality TV shows are just normal people. And so it's kind of like the American dream of like getting catapulted into fame, if you will, you know. But I just got an email casting. So I know a lot of the casting agencies will go through social media now, and I think most of my castmates were casted through social media. I was doing some kind of local modeling, like Dallas-Fort Worth modeling, and so because of that, I was in a lot of casting, I don't know, groups, I guess, an email list, and I got a casting, and it was very vague. It did not tell me what the name of the show was. It was just like, we're casting for couples that are between this age and this age. And like literally that was it. And so I was like, okay, well, I matched that description. And so I responded and they responded right back. And then it just was a snowball effect that I honestly never thought that I would actually get casted for, because it was kind of just like, oh, we'll see where this goes. This is fun. Yeah,
That's
like
fun.
I did not in a million think that I was actually going to get casted. And then it happened. So
And you did.
I did.
So tell us about those that do not know about Temptation Island. What was the premise? And you were casted, and then you went. It was in Hawaii, right?
It was in Hawaii, yes. So the premise is 4 couples go on an island, which, was Maui, and they separate real couples. So they separate the boyfriends from the girlfriends, and the boyfriends live in a mansion with 12 single girls, and the girlfriends live in another mansion with 12 single men. And during this duration, you have no outside contact, no phones, no communication with your significant other, and you go on kind of bachelor style dates. So these, exotic like helicopter dates, or, the zip lining, and just these fun romantic dates. And you have these kind of bonfires, weekly, that gives you just a snippet of what your significant other is doing in their villa. And of course, it's going to be, probably the most scandalous thing.
Enough to piss you off.
Right. Because that's what they want. They're testing you, right? They're tempting you. They're putting you in these uncomfortable environments. They're filling you with liquor, and they're putting you under all kinds of emotional and psychological stress. And they just want to see if, you're going to crack, and there's cameras to capture it.
Wow.
What could go wrong?
Wow. So you went on. Yeah, nothing. It sounds like a great idea, right? I know you when you and I were chatting a couple of weeks ago, you're like, it just wasn't a good idea. If you would have known, though.
Yeah.
So it was you and your boyfriend.
It was.
Okay.
Yeah.
And not your boyfriend anymore.
Not my boyfriend anymore. No.
So
no.
what happened? So you were on there, and just it was a recipe for.
So for everybody kind of had their own unique journey, and for me, it served the purpose which it was supposed to. The whole premise was to see, it was for couples that are at a crossroads in their relationship, to see, are you the one? Like, is this person my forever person? Ultimately, that's what it is. Of course, some people want to say like, okay, well, are you going to be faithful? Or are you not going to be faithful? But I think it's way less black and white than are you going to be faithful or not? Is this person my forever person? And that's what all of us who were on season 1, we were all at that crossroads in our relationships. And so for me, it gave me the answers that I was looking for, which told me that he was not my person. And it was more of a introspective journey that I went on, that I discovered this more so than it was infidelity going on, which there was. I had a love interest in the house, and my boyfriend had a love interest in his house, and, just a disaster. But, like I said, it did bring me a lot of life lessons and a lot of clarity. It kind of catapults you in a direction whether you're ready or not.
Right.
So
when you went and you applied, or you answered the email for casting, did you think, is the guy's name John, right?
John, yeah.
Did you think he was your guy, the rest of your life guy when you were going on?
I definitely, I think that there were those like kind of nagging questions in the back of my mind, but we certainly were pretty solid. And I think even the weeks leading up into actually flying to Hawaii, our relationship strengthened because we were having these really deep conversations about the real possibility of, oh my gosh, could we actually get casted? And like, what does that mean? What does that look like? So it really helped us like dive in. And I would say, the last night before we actually went to film, like we were certain that we were making it through. We were certain we were not breaking up. And that didn't happen. It didn't. But, everything happens for a reason. And I'm so thankful that it did.
Yeah.
At that time, it was really dark and really hard and really, tearful. But change is really hard. And so sometimes it's for the better, and things happen in weird ways sometimes.
Well, and breakups are horrible anyway. Yep. I mean, they just are. I mean, it doesn't matter if you don't even like them. For sure, there's no way. It's not good. And, but that was a blessing.
Right. And especially looking back because, in my unique circumstance, I not only got to see, once the show came out and actually aired, we all watched it live with everybody else. We didn't get a sneak peek preview.
Didn't?
No, we watched it live with the rest of the world, our families. Yes.
Oh gosh.
And so, you're getting to see what your ex, right? But you're getting to see what they were doing on camera behind closed doors, or, from the other perspective. And then you're getting to see how are they reacting now at, where they are now as a person. And so obviously in the world of social media that we live in, even though him and I were not speaking, he definitely aired his opinions on social media, and it was quite ugly, and quite ugly towards me. He handled the pressure of that and that public heartbreak so unwell. It just solidified my decision that I'm so glad we're not together, because he was not acting the way somebody that I would want to be with would act, because life's hard. Life's going to throw you a lot of curveballs and and squeeze you in really uncomfortable situations. And, I think your integrity in those moments are probably the most indicative of your character than the moments of that when everything's shiny and pretty. So it really showed me, some true colors that I did not like. And, I was grateful that, it was a really unorthodox way to go about it. But you know what?
Yeah.
Here we are.
So it certainly changed your perspective of relationships.
It did.
Right?
Yeah. I'll change my perspective on a lot of things.
Yeah.
So my experience on Temptation Island, I was kind of casted as a villain, unbeknownst to me at the time. And I think because I just kind of fit into these predetermined characters that they already had in their mind. So just because a reality show is unscripted, it doesn't mean it's not produced. And I think that's where a lot of people get confused on, like, is this real or is this not real? Well, once again, it's not just black and white, because we don't have scripts to follow. We're not actors necessarily, but they tell us what to talk about. We do pickup lines. They tell us kind of like lines to say. They'll ask us questions in interview style in the secluded room for hours on end, over and over in different ways. They get you to say what they want you to say, right? And then they can use those clips and they can piece it together and they can create whatever narrative they want to create. So you're not really in control. I mean, you're in control of what you say and what you do, but you can't control how that's going to be spun and perceived and aired. And so it made me look really bad. And that's okay. I'm not, complaining about it, but it did teach me a lot to use my voice. And, because I sat back and I let the producers tell me what to do. And then when the show came on, I let the fans think what they want to think, because I felt so hurt that people could be so ignorant to think that, this, and when I say people, my own close network, people who know me, my friends, family, acquaintances, that they would actually believe that, and this was real, like I was questioned by my own friends and my own family and, my own network of people. And I've just felt like, what, if they don't know me well enough, then I don't need to explain myself. And I kind of like really just was quiet during all of the show being aired. And I have since learned that did not serve me well. Letting somebody else control your narrative will never serve you well. And now, as a business owner and an entrepreneur and somebody who owns a marketing agency, and I handle, PR and positioning and strategy for my clients, that's something that I have tied in, and a lesson that I've learned is you always control your message, you always control your narrative, and you tell your story. You don't let somebody else tell your story. And that's really important, and something that, has been a key takeaway from one of the many, many lessons I learned from my growth journey post Temptation Island.
Wow. So. Wow. That's amazing. And would you do it again?
Oh, that's such a good question. Man, that's such a great question. Going back in time, I think I would do it again. Of course, I like to say like, oh, I would do things differently. But then again, everything happens for a reason. I'm a big believer that, everything's going to work out the way it's supposed to. And I love where my life is now. And I think the trajectory of where my life was going prior, I think I'm light years ahead and in a different direction, but in a much better direction now than I was prior to the show. So I would say, yes, I would do it again because of the growth that it taught me and the lessons that it taught me. And like I said, the trajectory of my life that it took me. And it's opened so many amazing doors. I've met so many people. And I now, because I have this platform, I've been able to leverage that, right? And I've been able to start my company, and I've been able to, be on e-news and, these huge publications and have these huge opportunities and go to these awesome red carpet events and, just really just kind of be tied into very influential people, celebrities, and high-end business owners that have, like I said, it has really just changed the trajectory of my life and, helped me a lot in business and has kind of just led the path for where I am. So yeah, I guess I would do it again. But I mean, I wouldn't do it again today.
Not today.
Yeah, if somebody was like, oh, you want to go on Temptation Island, for the new season, I'd be like, heck no.
Y'all, let me interrupt the show for just a minute to introduce you to one of my new favorite products. Following my breast explant surgery, I discovered ASEA and have been using Renew 28 ever since. Seriously, I'm not sure how I ever lived without this product. The fabulous gel has helped fluff my breasts post-surgery, reduce the crepiness on my arms, tighten and smooth my face, and help heal a nasty scar on my daughter's foot. I'm serious, it's so fabulous. This will continue to be a staple in my home for sure. You will just love the youthful appearance it provides and the hydrated, smooth way your skin will feel. I love all the ASEA products I've tried, and I'm sure you will too. Learn more and shop at shopasea.com/Tiffany Blackmon. And again, that's shopasea.com/Tiffany Blackmon, or click the link in the show notes.
As I started the show today, I'm talking about you sharing your wisdom with people that are listening, because there's a lot of reality TV out there. There's a lot. Yeah. Your wisdom with women and men, of course, that are going through this, and people are like, "Oh my gosh, yes," or they're either people I ask are either yes or no. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? They're either all in or they're not. Yep. And when you're talking about your family was involved, I mean, obviously your relationship with your boyfriend's involved. A lot of people, your life's exposed.
Yeah,
I mean,
tough. It's not for everybody. It's not for the faint of heart.
You're tough.
It was really hard. I mean, every single person who went on that show, at least on my season and as a couple, it was very, very hard for everybody for years post the show. And I think that that's something of reality TV that, or really just anybody who's kind of catapulted in like this platform of that they don't talk about like the ugly side of, and I don't think it's just public scrutiny, but it's just the whole process, and I say Temptation Island was like a twisted form of therapy. Like it was like they went in, they opened Pandora's box, and then they just threw you out and left you to figure it out for yourself, just completely exposed and vulnerable and alone.
When you're young,
and
you're with a relationship, you went out there with a man, and
now now you're back, and you're just like thrown into this. It's absolutely crazy. So, but think about the things that we go through in life of that throw you a curveball that you were like, you think like, oh, I can never get through that, or oh, that must be awful, like. And then you're faced with it. Mm-hmm. And then what do you have to do? You just put one foot in front of the other, and you have to learn. You have to get better. Oh. Life doesn't get easier. You just get better. Yeah. So it was one of those things that made me a lot better.
I've shared on my podcast multiple times. I had a horrible phase of my life, and and I hid it for so long because the shame and guilt. And that's the two worst things that could happen to a person is shame and guilt mentally. And it took me years and years, probably like yourself, to actually come out and talk about it. But then I figured out there's people that are going through the same crap that I went through. And I'm like, I'm helping someone. But it was still tough. And so your journey with that, helping someone. I mean, you know?
Yeah, that's been really important. And a part of my growth journey has becoming more spiritual and becoming a stronger, I'm personally am a Christian. And so becoming stronger in my faith. And that's been something that it's been definitely on my heart the last few years as I've healed and as I've come out on the other side of this experience of, you know, to share my story and to share with other people, because like you said, shame and guilt can isolate people and make people feel so alone. And part of talking about the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything in between of what we're all as humans are going through can really just connect us, make us feel less alone. And I think if I can, like, even the things I share on my social media, on my, even just my personal page of, you know, motivation, because I don't always just talk about business and marketing. If you've, you know, taken a look at my personal pages, I also talk about, you know, your spiritual growth, your mental health, you know, being a better human, working on yourself, self-love. A lot of those pieces, I think, all fuel into the same, the trajectory of becoming your best self and your highest self and more Christ-like. And I think part of that is, you know, connecting with people, helping people, you know, making people feel less alone. So if I feel like if I'm helping one person by sharing a social media post or coming on a podcast and talking about it, or, you know, going on Temptation Island, you know, I had, you know, as much hate as I had from that show, I still had, you know, that percentage of people that reached out and be like, I feel the exact same way about my boyfriend, or nobody understands it when I try to talk about this. Thank you for saying this. I know exactly what you're talking about, you know, and those kind of things fuel you, you know, that makes it so much, you know, it really just takes away the sting, you know, it really, it helps.
You know, and sharing that you're not alone. You know what I mean? Like I started this podcast to help people and to tell people you're not alone.
Right. And that's one of the things that the enemy is really good at, is getting in our minds and making us feel like something's wrong with you. You're alone. You're unique in the situation. And it's not that way. And I think if, you know, we, you know, set aside judgment and just came to each other with more open-heartedness and lovingness and less judgment, you know, I think a lot of people would feel more safe and comfortable to talk and share. But, you know, there's good and there's bad. So it's like, yeah, you're going to open yourself up. You're going to get some of the bad stuff in, but you're also going to get some of the good stuff too. And I think if we're, you know, trying to strive for greatness, like that's just part of it.
You know, when I try very hard to be transparent as much as I can without offending people, but going through menopause and going through hormone imbalance and, you know, low libido and sexual dysfunction, and sharing that on my platform, the number of women and men that shared with me, I thought I was alone. And you're making it okay to talk about it. Well, yes, it's okay to talk about it. Maybe our moms didn't talk about it. Maybe they did. I don't know. But it's okay. And I'm trying to reach people and say, it's okay. And I'm not, Instagram makes us look perfect. We're just not. We're just not. I know. Well, I want to turn this to marketing. I want to bend your ear, because you're marketing, learning so much in what you're sharing with us right now, you know, learning what's going on in social media, with reality TV, with television, with pop culture, and all the luxury brands. When you were going through and you're looking at your clients that come to you, what is the first thing that you dive in? What do you do? Like, what do you, if I came to you and said, okay, Kady, would you take me as a client? I'm sure you don't take everyone.
Right.
But what do you look at? What do you look for?
I think a common core thread is, what is your mission? What is the soul and the purpose behind this brand? Right. And it's not to make sales, but what are you trying to say to your consumer? What are you trying to make them feel? And that's something, so empathy driven marketing is something that we specialize in. And so, and I think once again, tying that back into Temptation Island is some of the things that I've learned is to harness that empathy and to use that as a foundation of building our core messaging, because people buy based on emotions. They don't buy based on logic. They're not going to buy based on this feature, this feature, this feature. They're going to buy based on how the product makes them feel, who that they want to become or who they see themselves becoming with your product or service.
Right.
And so, yeah, I think it's getting to the core of what is that deep rooted message and feeling that we're trying to evoke.
Right. And so when you're looking at a brand and you dissect, okay, so you and I reached out, you connected with me.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think? I mean, did you think, okay, this is a, I'm not even middle-aged anymore. I'm so old.
Stop.
I don't even know where I am. Oh my gosh. But what did you, like, going through my brand, through, what did you notice? Because something attracted you to.
Affluent moms.
Okay.
Affluent moms, right? And so it kind of aligns with the luxury lifestyle brand. And then, of course, you seemed, very plugged in the Dallas-Fort Worth community, and seeing some of the guests that were on your podcast are also friends and acquaintances of mine. And so, I wanted to reach out because I also really love empowering women who are, pursuing their dreams. So women entrepreneurs, women in business, and really helping facilitate that, because I think, there's a lot of power in that. And a lot of the things that I have been focused on in the last 5 years has, not only been about self-love, but like I mentioned earlier, about serving others and helping others, and sharing that message. And I have a passion for helping women because, and not to digress, but growing up in Abilene, I grew up in a very conservative, traditional household mindset of, women grow up to be wives and moms, and there's a role that they play, and I think that that's beautiful. But I always, growing up, felt like I had to make myself small, or that was the cap on my purpose, and my value was determined on how great my life looked on the outside. The house, the dog, the kids, the husband, how much money my husband made, of course, because
for sure
I was be
you couldn't make any money,
of course,
right, exactly.
Or at most I was going to be a teacher, and nothing wrong with that. But as I've gotten older and like I said, kind of found my voice and found what's true and authentic to me, I had so much more power and capability in myself that I hadn't even tapped into, and that's been such a beautiful journey to unwrap and unlearn as I've been working on my self-love journey. And I think more women have that inside of them too, and I would love to just bring courage and encouragement to them. So with launching my business, whether it be business or marketing or any industry, I mean, it's primarily ran by men. And so as a woman coming into business or woman coming into marketing, it was, it wasn't easy. And I didn't have a lot of women mentors, but the few that I did, that I would go to these women summits and the women entrepreneur kind of like groups, and the fire and the fuel that I felt from going to just, a 2-hour long summit, I could not explain the vigor that gave me. And so it's something that I've really wanted to hone in and harness more of in the last few years, is really circling myself and surrounding myself with and helping and serving other women in business.
Yes. And Kady, I went to an influencer conference last week. I couldn't get internet to email you. Remember?
Yes.
Remember?
Yes.
I went to, and it was midlife influencers. Okay. So I go, and the information that these women shared, secrets, how to make it happen, I learned more in 3 days than I've learned in 5 years.
Wow.
And I was so touched. And I actually get a little teared up about it, because these women were not holding their information in tight. They're like, this space is big enough for all of us.
Yes.
Why don't we all support each other and build each other up? And I was just like you said, that conference, and you took that away, and that gives me fire to everyone in this room to just support.
And once again, it makes you feel less alone. You think I'm the only one going through this. And
yes,
business is hard. Entrepreneurship is hard. Owning a podcast or doing a podcast is hard. Being a public figure is hard.
Yeah, it is. And the scrutiny, of course. Yeah, of course. Kady, I've written this down because it's ever evolving.
Mm-hmm.
The landscape of the digital world is changing every day.
Yep.
It's analytic driven. It's just changing.
Yeah.
How do you advise me, your peers, other women and men in this industry to stay to my head up above water?
Yeah.
I'm just like swimming.
It's a lot. It is a lot. I think once again, going back to your core messaging and what's driving you, the empathy driven core messaging, and honing in on that messaging and staying true and authentic to not only who you are and be okay to evolve, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like allow yourself to evolve. And I guess just honing in on that core message and then distributing that throughout all your channels of distribution. And I think, yes, trends are going to come and go, but I think that's the best way to, kind of stay true to yourself and not get in the weeds of trying to keep up with everything. If you wanted to, kind of stay in the loop, I think just following other social media accounts, signing up for e-newsletters of kind of like social media updates or marketing updates, and you can keep it high level. You don't need to get down into every little crevice of marketing, because it can, it's very complex and there's a lot of layers to it and a lot of branches of it. But yeah, I think just fueling yourself with that every single day, and some even like a little short snippets of whether it be a social media account that you follow or an e-newsletter that you follow,
Right.
and then staying true to unauthentic to your core messaging. I think are the two biggest takeaways I would say for keeping up. It's a lot of work to keep up, I'm not gonna lie. Or hire a marketing agency.
Exactly.
I don't know.
One or the other. Well, and I do love the luxury brands, and you're so diverse. Pop culture. I mean, I love you, beautiful boots, and I love what you're doing. It's beautiful, and I love the snippets that you're all sharing. You're sharing with us on a daily basis as well.
So
I think you're pretty fabulous.
Oh, well,
actually.
I think you're pretty fabulous, Tiffany. Thank you.
Girl crush. All right. Well, how in the world can we find you and your beautiful agency? Tell us how we can find you.
You can find my agency on Instagram at Kannon with a K, Kannon Marketing Agency. So at Kannon Marketing Agency. My website's also KannonMarketingAgency.com. And then, of course, you can follow my personal pages. That's Kady, Kady, Cannon 313. Kady Cannon 313. It's across the board for all platforms. I keep it simple. So one of those two platforms, you'll be able to find me and cross-reference and find my agency. And I'd love to say hi.
Well, absolutely. Well, you're doing big things, and I'm
Thank
so proud of you.
you.
You survived the Temptation Island.
I did. Not only did I survive, but I came back better
thriving.
than ever. Yep.
You're thriving.
Phoenix.
Yes, I'm so proud of you. And thank you so much for reaching out to me, because you're just fabulous. I think you're great.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. Appreciate you having me.
Great. Well, everyone, thank you so much for listening, following along. Make sure you go over to YouTube, because this is on YouTube. You can see what we're up to over here. And I say it every single Tuesday, y'all. Keep being fabulous.